Hey everyone, Klavi here, and today I want to talk a little bit about the Division PvP and some changes that I'd like to see. I think the PvP in this game could greatly benefit from taking out or nerfing ultimates in the Dark Zone. As you can see from that clip that I just had, both of those guys got the flank on me, they got the first shots, but all I had to do was pop my super and burn them down. Now, I don't even want to talk about how fast I burned them down or the fact that they might have been bad players, but I just want to talk about why I think the game could benefit from taking out the ultimate. Now, the PvP in the division is all about who has their ult up when the encounter begins. We've all had those occasions where there's an ult up the whole encounter, where it's a 4v4, 3v3, or 3v4, where it's just a constant battle of tag back and forth. All right, this causes the bigger groups to have the advantage, even if they're less skilled and geared. I just think this game would be way more enjoyable if the ults didn't play as much of a role, if any, in PvP. With that, I want to explore two options that I feel could change PvP for the better and take a look at some pros and cons of that. Solution number one would be take out the ultimates in the Dark Zone period. Now, before everybody gets their panties in a wad, I'm just throwing out some ideas here. Reasons why I like this idea is that I feel PvP encounters will become more heavily dependent on the skill of the player and less on running and trying to burn people down. Right now, I feel like people will run into the middle of a group, pop their super, and try to burn people down. Now, this game, I think, was designed more of a cover-based shooter. Now, you see that in PvP or PvE, but you do not see that in PvE. And I think you will see that more if you don't have the supers. All right. I also like this idea because I often know I can take out 2 to 4 players by myself or with my party, but it just doesn't happen because the odds are at least 2 of them have their ults up. That's at least 30 seconds that I have to stay alive and kite around before I can engage. When in reality, in that 30 to 45 seconds, I could have already downed 2 or 3 of those agents by myself without the supers if I am a more skilled and more geared player. I also don't like the fact that what supers do is just make people kite. I'm not going to say too much about that, but I hate the fact that pop a super, you run away until it goes down, then they pop a super, they run away. That's pretty much what this game has gone down to in the PvP, and I do not like that. And there are some bad things that I think would come out of taking out the ultimates, especially for solo players. And this game already is heavily dependent on having a group, and you are at a disadvantage most of the time when you're playing by yourself. And two good areas that I think that you would need your ult would be if you are playing solo and 3 or 4 players surprise you out of nowhere, went rogue, you can pop that super and you can get out. You got that percent movement speed increase and 80% damage reduction. You can pretty much get away if you need to. Or if you're farming DZ05, DZ06, where those bosses and mobs hit very hard. Those are 2 areas that I think the super is good and that is needed. Now, the less aggressive solution would be put the ults of the same kind on a global cooldown. So what this would mean is if you have groups of 3 or 4 and one person pops the survivor link, that once that goes down, everyone's is on cooldown. Oh, I like this option because it puts player 1v4s, 1v3, 2v4s on an even playing field. And what I think it does also is diversify the game a little bit. So other ultimates will be used and will be needed. I really like this option as well because it only affects groups. It has no real downsides for a solo player, which I think really encourages people to play a little bit more solo if they know a group is not just going to pop a ton of survivor links and burn you down. Now, I'm not saying these should be implemented as there are probably issues and points that I didn't think about or addressed, but after 200 plus hours of playing this game and me enjoying PvP more than the PvE aspect of this game, this was just a look at 2 different options that I think can make PvP more enjoyable and more skill based. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you think these options are awful? Would it ruin the game? If so, why? Do you have any other suggestions they could implement to make PvP more enjoyable? Let me know in the comments below. And that's a wrap. Klopv out.